So you remember those days when we used to do videos every freaking 5 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
We might get back to that point. We're like in the I think the last while of the bear market, but this can last a year,
Oh
which
yeah.
is which is so frustrating. And everybody's just trying to get through or whatever. So anyway, this is why basically it's my little short story about why there hasn't been a video recently. We're
Mm-hmm.
all doing all sorts of stuff to kind of make it through the winter. But
Mm-hmm.
the Uplift community is still there. They're still working on stuff. They're still dreaming of turning the Uplift and the Uplift DAO into what it can and should and will be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we wanted to have Mackie on because Mackie, you have a proposal up that just passed the pre-proposal, right? It hit
Yep.
quorum
That's
to
right.
pass that
Yep.
in the DAO. So I want to get like a bit of an overview of that, and then maybe dig into a couple of the questions I had, and maybe we can even take this session as like a bit of a brainstorming session. The pre-proposal was fantastic. We might be able to
No
find some
problem.
ways to make the final like that much
Mm-hmm.
more kind of compelling
Yep.
and well rounded. Anyway, so MME Medieval Minecraft Empire.
Oh, I'm so
Uh,
sorry. Just before you guys
yeah.
continue. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter. This is
By the way, Chris Tuttle is here.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, all is good.
You
I
already
just
said
forgot that MKY has an AI assistant to transcribe these things now, but that works for a different platform. So
Yeah.
What? Which platform?
Zoom.
Oh, does it only work on Zoom? Well, what's this pickle? What's this pickle? Wayne has. I can get this transcribed if we want to.
Yeah. Either or, it's okay.
Just say it.
If
We
you're
might
gonna
want
be
to.
recording this and then uploading it, I can always just watch it again, right?
Well, or we can feed it to our AI personal assistants in a few months when those come out anyway. All right. So yeah, what are you gonna do?
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
Oh,
yeah.
if I ever start a stutter or you see like the video start to lag, let me know because it could be that I'm overusing my CPU or GPU. So just let me know if I start to stutter, okay?
Okay. Yeah, you're good so far. The video is a little bit stuttery, but the audio is fine.
Oh.
That works out balanced.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, MME, tell us everything.
Oh, everything. Where do I even start? Okay, so on the very basis of what he is essentially a huge collection of numerous mods on a much more recent version of Minecraft. And yeah, it's a lot of features. It ultimately is like Minecraft, but with steroid. Okay, and by steroid, I mean serious case of expansion packs and new features and new gameplays and things that you just can't imagine that you can do in Minecraft. And it comes from all aspect. It's from administrative side, resource management side. It's from gameplay, like all the different options you now have, opposed to before. It also comes down to like RPG lore styles that you can put into that's actually part of the game when it comes to like the back end of things that you can set up for your player base that they be able to enjoy. It just I don't know how to start. Like we have people that have been testing this since 3 months. What are we right now? June? No, yeah, we're almost July actually. So yeah, we have. Oh, hello, Oscar. That's Sonia. So we have people that have been testing this since like 4 months ago at this point. They're still exploring stuff. Like I literally have one guy. Oh, okay. I think okay, that didn't work. So I probably shouldn't stream while yeah, it's too much for the computer as we're doing right now. I still have to probably get more RAM actually.
fair enough.
Because
Can
streaming
I
costs,
jump in and give a real quick shot at the core bits?
Sure,
You can
sure.
tell me if I'm missing anything huge or not. Because to me, yeah, it's on the updated version of Minecraft. Instead of a strict land ownership system, there's like a colonies system basically. So you own one of, I think you said 11 or something maximum colonies over the land.
That's right.
And those colonies support NPCs that can do tasks. And so that's a good hook in for AI stuff later. It's a very versatile
right.
framework of NPCs with tasks, including full building from schematics,
Yep.
as well as monsters and defense and all of that sort of stuff. It also supports voting and organization, so people can vote out colony leaders in theory. They can vote on
Yep.
proposals on how the NPCs should be organized or other resources can be used. And it has extremely granular permissions for what people can actually access and control.
Yes.
So it doesn't use any of the plugins that we've built for Uplift, right? This isn't built for Uplift land.
I've only been able to grab things that are absolutely outside of Uplift to experiment with, because these are things that, again, it is a individual initiative where I went out there, explored to see what other things that we can do, we can add, we can include maybe into other Uplift gameplays or other Uplift events, right? So I was looking for things specifically that Uplift hasn't really explored yet, that down the road Uplift could be interested in and incorporate into. So that's why I didn't really want to use any resources from Uplift. I didn't want to draw away people's develop attention time away from Uplift. This is more of me doing exploratory investigation, and now I have put together a package that I think it's ready to almost start inviting Uplift players fully, like by a quantity of about 10 to 15 or even more players, to try and test it out, and then from that point on, get back to the Uplift team and get back to everyone else and say that we want to see these following things because these things are cool, and these following things also are what the other wax people are interested in. So everyone has a common interest in seeing something being developed, right? So why not try and deploy that in Uplift too, so that we can then take it into a fully blockchain style, not just another Minecraft game, but now it's gonna be a Minecraft blockchain style Uplift version. Hope that makes sense.
It does. So I mean,
here, let me just jump into the final bit of connection before you go, Corey, too,
please.
which is that so the voting system was what really attracted Alien Worlds out of all of this. Because they're still struggling with the Minecraft implementation that USA is working on for them. It's all community-based and custodianship-based too, so this is where it's not necessarily just getting the Alien Worlds leadership on board, but Michael has expressed direct interest in supporting this project because of the voting that happens in-game. So they don't even really care about the volume or how well it scales, because this won't scale anywhere near as well as the Uplift. This is for a smaller number of people at any one time. But having people being able to come in, look at what's evolving, have that be linked to, in this case, the Magor planet, and have voting in there be linked to actual Magor custodianship activities through the fact that MKY, me, and one other person are going to run for custodianship of the planet. And in theory here, we've got Michael's support for the voting. So, in theory, we should get through as long as this is all well-defined. And that custodianship comes with a lot of Trillium every week, quite a bit. So that Trillium would be Uplift World's Trillium, but ideally the proposal would make it clear that that is for supporting this project and this interface, right? It probably shouldn't be a general coffer thing. Okay, that's basically all I've got to add. And Corey, go for it.
Okay, yeah.
There's one thing I'd like to just elaborate a little bit on what Chris mentioned earlier in the colonial phase. So one thing we really want to test that's interesting down the pipeline right now is the the server resource consumption rate for this mod pack that we're building. Remember how I said that the colony starts as just being 11 colony? I put it out there because based on the amount of CPU and RAM that we're consuming on the server side, 11 seems like a reasonable number per server. That's not to say that we can decrease the colonies to maybe 7 or we can increase it to maybe 15. It just depends on what kind of server, how big of a resource exhaust you can use, right? And there's no stopping you from saying open up multiple different server clusters, each with their own number of different colonies. So, for example, Uplift maybe have a server with 5 colonies, Layer maybe have one with 11 colonies, and they can still communicate with each other. They can still interact with each other some way, somehow, right? So those are things that we're trying to figure out on, when we deploy this and when we have the user base in there, how much drain are people going to how much stress are they going to add on to the server? I already have people saying, I want to have a MMing server where I can run like auto farmings. I can like spawn a farm of 1,000 villagers. And I'm like, well, okay, you can, but you also have to be aware that if you do that, it probably will stress the system out a lot. You might not be able to have that many colonies on the server, right? So those are the kind of things I'm collecting all the data and all the statistics from.
Yeah, so
by the
basically,
way,
the very first launch plan on how this would connect is an MME world for Magor, right? So nothing directly connected to the Uplift, but then we can have a proposal to put a world in for the Uplift, and we can connect that to our NFTs through things like WaxDAO voting or like a redemption. Like we could have a proposal to shut down one world and then to have people use their NFTs for that world to bid to own the colonies in the world. There's all sorts of little things we could do once we get there, but it seems to make sense to me to focus on everything related to the Alien Worlds partnership to make that work, to get us resourced so that then we're stable there. And then we look into how to make it work with the Uplift community more specifically.
Yeah. So
Mac,
right now, all the things you're seeing going on here, these are all NPCs right now. We're at such an awkward time that I don't think any of my testers are actually awake. Nope, they're not. Yeah. So what you're seeing right now, all the moving entities, they look like players. They're all NPCs. They all got their day jobs, and they all got their night duties. So you see them running around doing their own thing. And this is actually Stallman's town. So Stallman runs a colony called the Shire, from Hobbit, obviously inspired. And yeah, you can see like the colonists are going around doing their own things, and events randomly will happen. So if you have multiple people on, the server is always going to be on, and as long as the server is going to be on, the event timer is ticking, right? So there could be a raid that spawns all of a sudden. There could be a dragon attacking, literally like the Hobbit, and then your whole village, your whole colony will come to life. The NPCs will take care of your colony while you take care of the NPCs. That's what I mean by you're blending an element of empire building. You're building an element of survivals. You're also at the same time building an element of creative building. Because for the people who just want to build, they don't want to be limited by the resources, right? Find an established colony where NPCs are ready to help you out, and the colony owner does a good job keeping everyone happy. You just build whatever you want, free of all restrictions, right? Let's say you're interested in survival, you want to go for the lore, you want to like, explore some stories. Go for a frontier colony, one that just got started. The owner will really appreciate you when you bring them, starting materials to help expand the colonies. When you like say, hey, by the way, I just designed a fortress. Use this fortress to defend your town. And the colony owner will be like, awesome, give me that blueprint. I'll get my NPC engineers to build it right away. Because honestly, it's always a hassle to find someone who has the dedication to build all the time, around the clock, right? The NPCs, they can do it for you in the beginning when you're just busy getting survival stuff done. Let's say you're someone who is interested in doing player-to-player trading, right? Like what you can do is you can literally run between colonies. Okay, you as a player, you check out what this colony needs and what the other colony needs. You go and do that stuff. You do your own arbitration. So again, it's up to the players how you want your server to expand, how you want your colony to grow. And from the admin side, all you really care about is the governance side of things. Okay, what players want, they vote on. They have a voice on what the server could turn into. Let's say a bunch of player comes in and say, we want anarchy. You know what? We don't want your governors. You do all you people sitting on your high seats and whatnot. We're just going to vote to exile governors. They can do that. If a majority of players says they want to go anarchy mode, vote for it. The governors now is dissolved until further voted back in. The governor's colony officially becomes a free-for-all colony. And now there's no governance. It's anarchy server. Okay? Chaos ensues. But if your colony is strong enough and your colony is established long enough, it's not that easy for someone to just come and take you down. Okay, the NPCs are pretty good. They're pretty powerful. In fact, I would say they're better than your average players. if they are trained up to that point. So that could be someone's gameplay, right? Where the colony says, you know what, we've been playing this peaceful mode for the past 10 months. Let's go anarchy style, right? And they vote on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And that's just maybe 5% of what I can talk about.
I get it. So I want to just say off the cuff, step one, the Magor thing, using it as a test case for things that could possibly happen with Uplift, potential Trillium that should focus on that world and making that amazing for the Alien Worlds community, because that's the fucking point. That's brilliant, right? I'm completely there for that.
Okay.
Now, and again, like as an experimental platform for the Uplift, the one thing that I would really want to see is a way, because these servers, they're going to have to be small, right?
Oh yeah.
Just resource based like that, they're going to have to be tiny. So, and I just saw in my brain this because like NFT Worlds had this going on, right? Like how do we set up a situation where you have an API key that can connect you to the Uplift world system, right? Like what if this evolves and we have this situation where people can get land, to trade land in, whatever, however you get a grant to do this, right? Maybe it's trading in a bunch of land NFTs for a server NFT, whatever, right? We'll figure that out. Right. But I'd really love to make sure that everybody is paying their own server cost. Anybody can run a server, do it yourself, fine. So, but again, there might be a better way to do that. I'm just like, that's how I want to picture it right now. But what really got me is like Tuttle and I talked for like many days at a time about about like the economic viability of like the world trade, right? And all the rules have to be the same. Otherwise it just wouldn't work, right? And everybody does want other rules or whatever, right? But now if this thing has voting inside of it, right? And hopefully people can vote with Lithium or DAO tokens or whatever, that'd be really fun, right?
Yeah.
Lithium makes more sense actually, probably, especially considering they can all get grants for distribution once we start doing that again.
Yeah.
You can vote to have any economic rules that you want, and you can vote to connect to any world that you want. So you're not gonna connect to the machine farming world because they'll destroy your economy. Right?
Or maybe because you're just gonna destroy your server. Maybe right? The game out of everyone.
at any time that you want, you could be allowing other people to come in or come out and do whatever. Even down to like, I didn't realize like, as far as like attacking other worlds or whatever, right? I mean that's like that's nuts, right? Having to defend it, and maybe if that's a setting that you can sort of like opt in or opt out. If you want to go attack somebody now, like you're basically opening your server up to getting whoop-assed. But like it just that does it sort of it distributes all of this stuff. It sets it up so that if you're running your own server, like that's one of the things that I have always had nightmares about, especially with this downturn. Like how do we keep the Uplift alive forever, right? And the DAO itself has gone through basically the hardest economic hardship that it could go through, and we're managing to keep it going. But we're managing to keep it going at great personal cost to us. Yeah. Right. As DAO members, and we're going to keep doing that. But yeah, having it to the point where everybody can get what they want from the game environment. And they'll pay that. I don't know how much like a small server would cost or whatever, but people have that responsibility on their or groups or whatever. Right. I mean, even like Tunnel, like the World DAO thing that we were thinking of was kind of moving in this direction, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely, right. And like the same sort of World DAO overlay, if we do this right, could work for existing Uplift worlds and for these smaller worlds. Right. And so maybe the DAO is still stuck with paying for the server for the existing cluster as long as that's around. But everything new could be set up and still be put under the same Bungie, even, I believe, because Bungie supports cross like multiple versions of Minecraft, I believe, in the same server. So and if we had to have two, then we had to have two, one for the OG cluster, one for the new stuff that was different. But yes. I think there's a lot of opportunities, and I think once the other thing about this is like once the DAO sees it and sees how it's going with Magor and understands what we can do with it, we're going to get really great ideas out of left field from the rest of the DAO, right? Like that'll be the time when it's like, hey, look at here's the basic tech platform. We could extend it, of course, but like let's talk about how best to do this for the Uplift, what it should be. Should it just be one Nemesis type thing? Should it be, bidded on Colonies? Should it be a bunch of small worlds? Who's paying? How's it paying? Get it all talked about. And I think people will be excited because they'll also be able to dip into the Magor world and see what we might be doing. And they'll probably be exciting because if the Magor stuff all works out, that's resources into the Uplift, right? Which, yeah.
So there's something I'd like to mention on what we already have established in part of our testing here. This current cluster right now comes with 6 boss worlds. So think of like Nemesis, but times 6. Each of the worlds that has a boss residing in it, basically it's like a story event, right? Now, a lot of people already said that, well, I mean, you go through, the story, you kill the bosses, and then that's it, the end. Like those worlds are now wasted, right? Well, you see, here's another opportunity where people can vote. Say, the majority of players here at this point has already gone through that story mode. We want to refresh the story so the new players can get experience for it. So they vote for it. And if they vote for it, we literally just regenerate those adventure worlds, and it's all procedurally regenerated, right? So they can go and experience those boss fight. The new players who never done it before can now encourage to go and explore it over again. And like you said, it's just and these boss worlds, they don't always have to be like say unlocked all at the same time. You can turn the progression. You can make it into like a weekly event, right? First week of the month is this boss. Second week of the month is that boss. However you want to schedule, however you want to run it. Or maybe the player would just say, we don't even want those boss worlds. Like, what the heck? Just get rid of them.
Yeah. Well, and like, leading on the experience with Alien Worlds, which I think has been like really fascinating. Instead of sort of the DAO centrally managing how Upliftium got distributed in the worlds, they could just give them to the worlds. The world DAOs vote on how to do it, and that's it. Like, have fun, right? So you could be applying them to whoever takes part in a raid. You could create a plugin to reward distance, whatever, right? Like basically, you guys could figure out how to distribute it yourselves. And then that way that sort of offloads the workload from the central thing to have to keep updating it and doing all that shit. And everyone can do whatever the hell they want, right? And
so here's a
really
plan that we already thought about on distributing contributions and also responsibilities among the players are inside the server. So you see, this is a system built around the colonies, right? So you have the colony owners, and the colony owners basically have the people that are taking care of inside their colonies. We, from this mod pack, we can measure the statistics of the colonies, basically all the way down to like how many levels of buildings they got, how many NPC citizens are looking after. So I kind of am calling this in a really simplified sense right now, civilization index. Right? So you can basically give your DAO token distribution to the owners of the colony based on the civilization they are at right now inside their colony. And then the colony owner decides how they're going to distribute those DAO tokens or those voting privileges to the people inside their colonies. So if the colonies decided that, let the colony act like the king, he's the monarchy, he can take care of it. Okay, then that one guy votes for everything because that's what everyone says inside his colony, right? Now, if this person in the colony says, no monarchy, so it's gonna be republic, everyone gets equal rights in the Senate or in the forum, then he distributes the DAO token to every colonist inside his colony, and then they can all vote like that, right? So it's we're not going to be like literally chasing after every single player and then trying to figure out what they all did.
Right. No, that's I absolutely love that. Like the idea of decentralization and self-determination, yay, right? Across the board, yay. I like that too, but I was wondering if we could use Upliftium for voting, but chances are for something like a colony, you might not want to do that because I could go in and buy 100 million Upliftium and just take over, right?
Exactly.
Right, and nobody's going to want that, right? So if you wanted to do a DAO, there's nothing stopping you from making a tradable token on Wax and distributing it however the fuck you want, right?
Yeah.
And I guess, and really, like, I'd love to have people have the ability to still like do, Upliftium grants, like the Trillium thing, right? Like,
yes,
the colonies can get, a share of the monthly distribution, and essentially, at the Uplift DAO, we can decide how to distribute that in the most fair and entertaining and gamified way possible. But the second that it gets to the colony or to that world, you decide, maybe like if there's land NFTs or sections or whatever, every section that you own could be a vote, or like straight democracy, every member gets a vote, whatever. That either way, you do whatever the hell you want, and it'll be fun. That's cool.
That's just a suggestion as to what we can do. There's so many other things you can organize this, right? So
yeah. And I think the DAO is going to be really excited to talk about that too.
Right.
We could geek out about these features. It's really exciting and cool, and there's going to be a lot of stuff, but we don't have to solve anything there today. Right? The DAO will help us figure that out. But what we do need to solve today is how things work with the alien world side of things. What the specific process is that's coming up, what this custodianship voting's all about, just how that's going to work, and how the final proposal is going to look, right, for the DAO, or for the DAO, because to shape that, to make it clear how this alien worlds thing works, and that the Uplift stuff is to come and will be talked about, right?
Yeah, so maybe in the proposal, we could, answer some basic questions. What is this doing for the Uplift DAO, right? As a whole, right? It's an awesome connection with alien worlds, lots of visibility with our team, running a planet there. And, it's the sort of experimental RnD sort of arm of the Uplift, right? That could, presage a whole bunch of other stuff, right? So that, this is what it's doing for the DAO. And even down to the road, like, what's it going to do for the average, Uplift DAO member or Uplift citizen, right? And put in, just a section of that, like, just because we can answer, future capabilities down the road, blah, 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 right? And then, like, what is required of the Uplift DAO right now, right? And right now, like, basically nothing, right? Except for the attention of some of our core people.
To go and test it out, to give me feedbacks. And it's not going to just, I have to be very frank, and I'll front right here. A lot of people think that, I can just become a tester. No, we are highly selective. We have people we had to turn away, literally just like, I'm sorry, your internet is not stable enough that you won't be able to test this. We have turned away people where, like, I'm sorry, your computer literally will turn into a dumpster fire. Like, you can't handle the load. Because in the testing phase, we're highly aggressive. We're doing a lot of mock testing. It requires a lot of computer resources.
Okay.
So the more people that are interested, the better it is. Yeah.
Right. A bit call to action, right? Like, we're looking for, a 10, whatever the number is, right? More testers, and put some requirements in there. Like, if you don't have this, don't do it, right? If you don't know what a plugin is, right? Like really define the kinds of people that you want.
If you're not active enough, you're gonna get swapped out because someone else would take your spot. When I set out the pre-proposal, I may have been too big brain about it. Notice I set up the ranking system. A lot of people get confused as to why they can't vote. Right?
That was confusing and terrible.
But I should have explained better. But I set it up that way so I can see the people that literally said, I want to test it and I support it. So then I'm like, oh, great. If you want to test it, I got you. I don't know who you are right now, but I'll find out eventually who you are. And then that way I'd be like, you supported it. You already voiced that you want to come test it too. So by all means do that, right? And then the final proposal, I will explain it, but I probably will set up in a rank system again. So then I'd be able to pinpoint the people that will be able to jump on board right away. In my humble opinion, do whatever you want.
And I was going to make the joke, like, you're kind of the RnD arm right now. It's weird that you're trying a new thing. But just make it a straight vote, and we'll put a call to action out in the proposal, and in the Uplift announcements, right? So, like, we can get that out to the actual people that would do that, and we'll actually find out who they are. And then that way that like we can hopefully get more people voting with something that they can understand. What do you guys think about adding in a section that sort of imagines what will be possible, with an Uplift Colonies kind of evolution, right? Like and again, nothing firm in stone, blah 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 blah, but really paint that picture, because that to me, that's really exciting, right? Like all the Uplift old worlds, they're going to be working the way they're working, or potentially be connected, to this larger system, right? And we can figure out Upliftium distribution again. They each go to the worlds. The worlds have their own DAOs. Like we've got this sort of the world DAOs bit kind of a little bit brainstormed already, but kind of shows like this is what's possible, and like all of these future resources and mods and all this stuff, like self-determination gets ramped up to basically near infinite, right?
Yeah, and the first thing I would have mentioned is the reason I'm doing this in the first place, and I will always mention this because this is the most important part to mention, is I'm doing this with the idea where we're going back and bringing the memories, the joyful times, all the good feelings, the positiveness that people had when they were Uplift building buildings together. We have lots of beautiful buildings all over the Uplift servers. It is kind of sad to see them kind of, not being interactive with players right now, right? But at the same time, I understand why there's not a lot of interactivity with them, because it's not building to it, right? You have a building that is maybe meant as a art gallery. Well, how many times can you go see the same art gallery? There's a limit, right? So what if I were to create an art gallery that has NPCs going in there, and then there are events you can do with the NPCs? Well, you guys might recognize that building right there. That's the Bat Mansion, right? The Bat Mansion right now is functioning as a government's house where the voting is going to happen. Cool. On the first level of the Bat Mansion, we can go there right now, actually. Hopefully my computer doesn't blow up, because it's obviously struggling. It's not liking the fact that...
Mac, you can always share your screen too, but...
I'd rather not. If I share a screen, I can't even see what I'm doing.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's not that bad. So you guys can see that I'm going down into the first level of the Bat Mansion. Like a lot of empty spaces can still be planned out with the NPCs. It just depends on what you run the programming to do, right? But this section here has a little laboratory. So the NPCs are doing research here. They build an underground workshop where the NPCs are doing their own little research. And we might be saying, well, what does research really do? The research unlocks further abilities for the NPCs. It makes them smarter. It makes them work faster. It makes them like more durable. They can take up more punches, okay? It makes them, I don't know, magical. They can now throw magic potions, whatever. Okay, so yeah, you can do this. You can upgrade your buildings. You can add additional functionalities, give them more things that they normally wouldn't be able to do, and all that kind of fun stuff, right? So I'm just saying that, look, there's so much emotion, so much time, so much money that people have thrown into building all the buildings. I don't want to see those buildings ever go to waste. To me, that is one of the signatures of Uplift World. That's something that Uplift achieved that a lot of other metaverses can't say that they've done for the players.
Yeah. I mean, so Chris, don't we have the ability right now to spend Upliftium and copy paste stuff?
Yes, but it involves somebody having to do something, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, no matter what, I think that's always going to be the case, right? Like if you want to have a building ported to another world, we can make that happen in the same way that we can make a picture install.
Yeah, totally. But Corey, what I'm trying to say is, why would you do it like that? Let the NPCs figure it out. If someone wants to build something for Uplift World, just give the NPCs the schematics. The NPC will say, "Oh, okay."
You can't. Yeah. Well, no. I guess you can download the schematic on your own, right?
Yes, you can download it on your own, but to put it into the server, you need to actually. There's a specific way you gotta do it so that the NPC will recognize the schematics, and then there's a whole learning system on how the schematics are actually recognized by the NPC to be built.
Yeah, no, that sounds way cooler. All right, I didn't know that's what was going on.
Yeah, here's a little farming community that my little NPC farmers are building. A bit, no more macro automated farming. You don't need to do that stuff. Okay, just learn how to work with the NPCs. They will outperform any kind of automation system you can think of down the road, and it's more fun. It's a lot more organic. You actually get to unlock stories this way too.
That's yeah. I mean, it's definitely cool that there's tons for it, especially like for the Minecraft specific, Uplift citizens. You know, they're going to dig the hell out of this for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything else that you guys want to add? Because I think that I'm stoked.
Do you know how to
Corey,
vote custodians?
Yeah, that's I wasn't going to mention it, but that was a good one too.
What's that?
Do you know how to vote for custodians?
For Alien Worlds.
Yes.
No.
It's actually quite straightforward, Corey. If you have time, and what I'll do is I'll give you a tutorial video. You can follow the videos, and they'll tell you step by step what to do.
Let's get it in announcements.
Sure.
Right.
And that brings back to what I was going to talk about, Corey. I think one thing we should do is we should fire up those weekly videos again, because while we're testing this, I like to collect a lot of evidence, lots of videos, lots of feedbacks from players, and what we can do every week is summarize the results on what we found in this results of worth of testing, right? And also, we're going to be testing our governance voting system too. So the governance result of this week is blah 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 blah. I'll videotape the whole thing, and then we can talk about it in like a weekly fashion, right? That way, people can always stay on top of what's happening here, even if they're not part of the testers. Because lots of people want to test, but they might not be able to. So I don't want those people to end up going like, "Oh yeah, all you people that you can test, you exclude me out." No, it's not that we're intentionally excluding you. You don't have the ability and the resource to do it, but we'll keep you in the loop, right? We'll still give you a weekly update as to what's happening here. So instead of having a newsletter system all the time, we'll just have like a video catch up, of what happened this week, what people test out, what we found, and what's interesting. Yeah. And we can get like lots of discussion like that happen, not just only in Uplift, but also in Alien World too, right?
Everywhere else. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
As far as if you want to make a video, obviously you can upload it to the Uplifters channel. I can give you credentials for that.
Well, this whole studio is built with lots of purposes, right? This is one thing we could definitely do.
No, that's awesome, and we can start doing lives again if you'd prefer that.
Sure.
Yeah. Either way, I agree. Like the any kind of consistency is obviously really, really good. And I'm even gonna have like a real office instead of living in a single room pretty soon.
Yeah.
So that's I think we're like 2 or 3 weeks out. I'm actually camping at the new house now. We've been doing renovations on it for a long time. It's a slog, but it's working. So it's office soon. Now, is it gonna be as bitchin' as yours? No, it's not. That's awesome.
I'm just showing you the nice side of the studio right now. Like the other side is absolutely not even built. It's like a trash heap.
Man, it looks great. It looks really good.
Thanks.
Okay, well, is there anything else that either one of you want to
add? I don't.
Okay. No, I'm good.
Rock
all right. I guess that's it. Right. Keep it nice and short.
Hey, so one thing. The Uplift is still here.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say the other half, but you could figure it out.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah.